ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa is in Nelson Mandela Bay for the second part of the ANC's Eastern Cape election campaign. Yesterday, Ramaphosa was in Buffalo City municipality on a door-to-door campaign, urging voters to vote for the ruling party. The ANC is adamant to take full voters of the Nelson Mandela Metro, this after it lost to the DA during the 2016 local government elections. SABC News reporter Lerato Fekisi brings us all the latest for this election trail. Lerato, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Just give us a bit of an idea and a background of where you are and what's expected in the ANC's second leg of campaigning today.
Good morning to you, Simpiwe. I think you hit it on the nail when you said that the ANC is adamant to win this year, and it's something that they have prioritized, and they want to make sure they ensure that they get an overall victory, like you said earlier on. In 2016, after a long time of the ANC being in power, you saw them lose to the DA by a margin of 8%. Just for you to understand how much hold the ANC had on this metro, in 2011, during the local government elections, the ANC had won those elections with over 60%. They then dropped in 2016 to a really saddening 40.8%, losing to the DA, and they're adamant this year that they're going to make sure they get an overall majority. But it's not going to be easy, Simpiwe, because I don't know if you're aware of the political instability that we have seen in the metro. Just for you to understand how bad it has been, over the past 4 years, Simpiwe, we have had 4 mayors in this metro alone, one from the DA, one from another small party called ACP, and we've had other several mayors come in, and everyone who has come in that hasn't been able to form a proper coalitions, though people have been trying, or the parties have been trying to form coalition parties, whether they form coalition parties with other smaller parties, but every single time the coalition parties form, they then collapse. What also has been critical for the ANC is that none of the bigger parties, which are the DA and the EFF, want to form a coalition with them, which means they are then forced to form coalition parties with smaller parties who are very much small in terms of having 1 or 2 seats in council, but powerful because once they pull out, the ANC goes out of power again. So while speaking to some of the ANC delegates, they have said their key plan is to win outrightly, because they have seen that a coalition with anyone, whether a small party or the more bigger parties like the EFF, does not work, because none of them are able to form some form of unity or come to some consensus of how to run this metro. So they are confident that they're going to win outrightly, but like I said, because of political instability in the metro and also some cracks within the ANC, we have seen some discretions between the PEC, the REC and the PEC in the Eastern Cape. The PEC saying one thing and the REC saying one thing, and the RTT being employed, the REC being against that. So we've seen a lot of instability within the ANC itself, and it's going to be important now for the ANC, as they gather themselves for these elections, to first try and get unity among themselves. So when they go out to the people, they come out as a united front, and unity within themselves has been a huge issue as well. But Simpiwe, this election is not really about who comes into power, though that's important, but it is about critical service delivery. Over the past 4 years, we have seen that crumbling in the Eastern Cape, in the metro specifically. Speaking to some people this morning, they highlighted youth unemployment, and Simpiwe, the Eastern Cape currently stands at over 44% with youth unemployment, which is the highest it's been over the past several years. Second to that, people here are complaining over poor housing service delivery in terms of the backlog facing the metro in terms of housing delivery. But I want to just get out from where I am. I'm in Walls Estate now. The president is going to arrive here just in a few minutes' time. But this election, Simpiwe, is really about the people. It's about who can they trust, not to just promise them what they're going to do, not to just give them good election campaigns like you were speaking earlier on Uthulebo, but it's about people that are going to deliver, because although they are out here in numbers, but they want to see change. They want to see refuge bags collected. They want to see houses being built. They want to see water stabilized in the metro, another issue facing the metro. They want to see electricity in their streets, and unless that is done, they're not going to vote. So let's take a walk with my cameraman Marcus Brenner and just speak to some people here in Walls Estate, hear exactly, because this election is about them, and hear exactly what it is they want to be addressed. And like I said to you, Simpiwe, service delivery for everyone here is key, because people here are really hungry and eager to see change come to this metro after years of what they say is empty promises. Let's just speak to some people that are here and find out exactly what exactly they would like change. Mama, namhlanje umongameli ulapha, ingaba wena njengomhlala phe Wales ufuna mhlawumbe umongameli ancede ngantoni mama?
Utata umongameli sifuna asincede ngento yonke, siyasokola, sihamba nzima. Asincede ngemisebenzi, abantwana bethu abaphangeli. Makasincede man, because yonke into makasincede. Siyasokola abantwana bethu abaphangeli. Asincede abantwana bethu abanye bafuna iuniversity. Abantwana makasenzele inceba kwinto yonke umongameli.
Because mama njengamhlali walapho ngabafuna umongameli okanye lo mntu uzophatha kulonyulo sizayo ba anincede ngantoni njengamhlali apha eWales.
Nge-police station, nesikolo, nezindlu khona amakliniki, nekliniki kwandisa ikliniki, khona ikliniki ayoneli incinci. Nawo namatshotshome ngasakhela izindlu.
So those are two residents here speaking, like I alluded earlier on. They really want, in terms of job employment, a lot of young people I've spoken to earlier on here are saying the number one thing is impure, because without a job you can't do anything. So they were saying they really want whoever comes into power, whether ANC or whoever comes into power, to reprioritize youth unemployment. I met a young person here, she's 16 years old, and she was just expressing to me her plight, and I'd like to speak to her now about some of the challenges that the young people are facing in this area. My darling, we spoke earlier on and you were saying that you're a young person from here. What would you like the president, whoever comes in power, to do for you?
Sisi, I like that. Mr. Ramaphosa is a very responsible person, and now that we have a new council, Mr. Mafani, simthembile, and we hope that he won't disappoint us by giving us isikolo ezintsha, asandisele isikolo apha, indawo zabantwana zokudlala, because abanye abantwana don't have places. That's why abantwana end up betshaya besizinto zirong. Umna ke sisi ne, I have grandparents zam died in exile fighting for ANC. Abazali bam died fighting for ANC, and namhlanje asinandawo yokuhlala. Kunzima kuba mandiye esikolweni. Bengicela ANC ingenelele sicela indawo yokuhlala, because utatam wathi before asweleke ukuba uneleta ese-ANC's office. Ileta echazayo ukuba ne-ANC ifuneka isincedile, isinike indawo yokuhlala, isifundise siyoma apho simakhona. So bengicela i-ANC ingenelele apho, plus no Mr. Ramaphosa, plus no Tatu Councillor Umafani. Ngasicatha kakhulu ngaloo nto sisi.
Well, a young person here from Walls State saying that her father was in exile, and before he died, he wrote a letter which he says is in the ANC offices, and he was asking them to make sure that in his death, after fighting for the ANC, could they take care of their kids. But as you can hear from what she was saying, that years later, after her father, who fought in the ANC and was in the liberation struggle, her and her siblings have no place to stay. They are depending on their grandmother's pension, which is not enough to sustain them as the many people living in that household. She was saying that she has faith in the president, she believes in him, that he can bring about change, but she was really asking that her father's wish, her father's death wish, as someone who worked so hard for this party, was that they get a house, they get proper schools, they get proper clinics, and she's asking if that could be made a priority, but above all asking just for a house for her and her siblings to stay in. So throughout the whole morning we'll be speaking to residents in Peru, because like I said, we could speak to election heads, but this specific campaign or this specific election is about the people. It's about what they want, what services they want, and until that's delivered, we could go campaigning all around the country, but we must make sure that whatever promises are put down, they are fulfilled when they're supposed to be fulfilled. So we'll be here in Walls Estate, where the president is going to be doing a door-to-door, visiting residents, asking them what their concerns are, and above all, urging them to vote for the party he says can lead this metro to victory. Go back to the studios in Piwe.
All right, Lerato, thank you so much for that update. We'll be coming back to you as soon as the president hits the shores on that door-to-door campaign. Lerato Fekisi there is speaking to us live from Nelson Mandela Bay.